What is up, Light Fam? Welcome to another video. My name is David. Last week I posted a video on the dark night of the soul, but it was in relation to the twin flame divine masculine's perspective of the dark night of the soul. However, I received a ton of messages of people going through the dark night of the soul. They were looking for some clarity, and I think it is very indicative of what's happening right now as the purging process of the Great Awakening 2020 intensifies. I believe the collective is going through what's known as the dark night of the soul. Moreover, the collective needs to go through the dark night of the soul so that we can get from 3D to 5D consciousness and give birth to this new 5D earth. So if you're going through a dark night of the soul, this video should give you some clarity on why you're experiencing what you are experiencing and what we can expect from what's going on right now with the Great Awakening 2020. So let's get into the video. If you are new to the channel and this type of content resonates with you, please smash that notification bell so you don't miss the twice weekly spiritual tutorials that I post. Also, if you want to see more videos on the Great Awakening 2020 and 5D consciousness, click the subscribe button. And remember to have a look around the description box below. We've got some goodies for you. We've got a 30-minute guided meditation on abundance. Again, if you have Gmail, that meditation will be under the promotions tab. We've got some one-on-one coaching down there for you. We've got ordering a personalized video, 30-minute video addressing your spiritual stumbling blocks specifically. And let's get right into the video. So the Great Awakening 2020 can be looked at on two different levels. First is going to be the level of the collective. So that's the group, the planet, basically, which also includes the government, how society is set up. And then the other level is going to be the level of the individual. And when I say that the collective is going through a dark night of the soul, I mean that the collective is going through what's known as ego death. So the ego is in charge of that 3D perception of identity. So the collective is going through an ego death, an identity change or identity crisis, which is also an ascension process. So as the purging process of the Great Awakening 2020 brings to light all of those old 3D identities to be burned away that was once held by the collective, held by society, government, etc., the collective is going to shift through a period of chaos because, again, ego death means death of the identity. So there's that chaotic temporary period of an identity crisis for the collective. And for those of you out there that have ever had a dark night of the soul, you will know that this is when the ego fights its hardest. It is holding on for dear life to preserve its idea of self. The ego believes that if its vision of self is not preserved, then that equals death. It doesn't know that if its version of self dies, then a newer and better identity is born. It believes that on the other side of its comfort zone is death. It doesn't understand that true growth and ascension only happens outside of its little sandbox that it knows. The collective is going to need to go through the dark night of the soul if we expect to go from 3D to 5D consciousness, because that old 3D perception of identity held by the collective, which is dualistic, competitive, and fear-based in nature, is going to need to be burned away so that we can step into a 5D perception of self, perception of identity, which means stepping into unity consciousness. Now, the 5D Earth is not a physical place to where we need to travel, The 5D Earth is birthed when the collective moves up to 5D consciousness, when they move up to unity consciousness, and society is set up more in alignment with unity consciousness. Could you imagine if the fear-based news media and Hollywood operated from unity consciousness? Oh my gosh. But I'm not going to go down that road right now. I also believe the ones that control the fear-based news media represent that old 3D identity, and they're holding on for dear life. They're fighting their hardest. This is where that old 3D identity is going to throw everything but the kitchen sink to try to retain that old identity. I mean, look at the insanity that we're in right now. The fear-based news media has the entire globe believing that the flu is deadly. But I digress. So, on an individual level, if you are going through the dark night of the soul, understand that chaos is coming from ego death. It's your 3D ego having an identity crisis, and it is holding on for dear life to try to preserve its perception of self. So this is where the ego is going to jump in and tell you that, you're not good enough. You're not worthy. You don't deserve it. You can't do it. Because if you stay right where you are, then the ego is not worried about death. Remember, the ego equates change with death. And if you've been watching my videos, then you know that your greatest version lies on the other side of your comfort zone. You've got to change to become your greatest version. So if you're going through the dark night of the soul, you need to not listen to the lies of your ego. You got to understand that your ego is coming from a 3D place of survival. So, as long as you look at the ego as just going through a little bit of an identity crisis at the moment, and you view it more as an ascension process up to 5D consciousness, then that chaotic process is going to be a lot easier. Same with the dark night of the soul for the collective. That old 3D identity is going to have to be brought to the surface and burned away. And yes, that process is going to feel very chaotic. So take it with a grain of salt, because that's what's necessary to get us to a new 5D Earth. Now, question of the day. Do you believe that the Great Awakening 2020 has caused the collective to go through the dark night of the soul, which will in turn cause the collective to step into 5D consciousness and birth a new 5D Earth? Or now we're just all headed for hell in a handbasket. Leave those comments below, guys. I would love to get an open discussion on this, get your thoughts on this whole subject. It's an interesting topic. If you liked the video, then please like the video. If you want to see more videos like this on the Great Awakening, we got some 5D consciousness, we got some 5D Earth, we've got shadow work 1 and 2. What else we got? We got how to meditate, we got how to create your own reality. We've got reality transurfing. Hey, this is the place for you if you have had a spiritual awakening and you are looking for answers. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Oh, also, remember to add me on Instagram, _Lightways. I do answer a lot of questions over there as well. Let's see, have a look around the description box below. We do have that free 30-minute guided meditation on abundance. We've got some one-on-one coaching sessions. We can create a 30-minute personalized video addressing your specific spiritual stumbling blocks. What else we got? Oh, if you know anyone that is going through the dark night of the soul and they need some clarity on what the heck is happening to them, why is there all of this chaos in their life, please share this video with them. It may give them the clarity that they need. And please do not forget to smash that notification bell so you don't miss the twice weekly spiritual tutorials. I believe that is it for me. You know the deal, guys. Light, love, and abundance to all that are watching and to all you love. Peace, guys.